Hey guys, Andy here with Pittsburgh White Schwartz, back again with another deck tech. Today we're going to be doing a Sword Art Online deck tech for you guys. It's me and Carmen.
I'm here.
We're doing Standby Switch today. One of the big, probably two Sword Art archetypes.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it. Level 0. We have 3 Kirito runners. He is a mill runner, and he has a second effect that doesn't really do anything for us. But runners are good, so we have them.
So mill runners are also good in standby because they put more targets in grave.
Yeah.
Which is good. So
definitely very powerful. 3 gathering material silicas. She is a level 1 bomb, and when you play her, you get to reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a character, you can draw it and then discard a card. So really helpful in getting your level 1s and level 2s into your waiting room early on to be able to standby back. That's why I have 3 copies of it, instead of like more runners or something else. Then we have the combo off of standby at level 0, Close Call Silica. I have all 4 copies of it. Some people will run like 3 or even 2 of this, but I really like being able to open with it. And it has a on-play effect. You get to look at the top card of your deck, put it into your waiting room or back on top of your deck. So it can help you mill into a standby, like get closer to a standby, or it can like top check and put a good standby target in your waiting room.
I think the classic cheese with these 2 cards is just really strong, and people really underrate it. I think that's one of the big reasons to run this card, because like it does make playing standby from hand better, and it helps you filter and stuff. But being able to like see the top card, see if it's something you want, grab it, and then ditch a card from your hand, like throw a 1/1 Silica engrave for level 0, is like a really strong interaction that people underrate.
Being able to confirm the top check is really powerful. And then it has a climax combo off the standby, so when you play the standby, you get to reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a character, you get to add it to your hand, and then she goes back to your hand too. So she returns to your hand to open up a lane for a standby card, so good synergy there, and then with the first effect, you can top check and make sure that you're going to actually get the plus off this. We got 3 Kirito Brainstormer and 2 Lifa Amagis. Kirito Brainstorm is rest 2 characters, and for each climax, you get to draw 2 cards and then discard a card.
Another good filtering tool.
Yeah, I really like this type of brainstorm in standby specifically because it helps you actually draw into climaxes. Because like drawing into standby is maybe more important than like searching a character in a deck like this. So,
because this is a deck that really wants to get a standby effect every turn, whether it is by triggering or playing it from hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works twofold in that way. You get to draw into your standbys and then discard your targets.
Or burn you down to a standby if it's hitting clean cards. So,
yep, and then the Amagi is whenever you play a climax, you can pay 1, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and add a character to your hand. So, it's kind of works really well together because this will help get climaxes into your hand, and then you can play the climaxes and look at more cards with this.
And you can do this effect first where you mill the 4, take 1, those go to grave. There's a better target in those 3 that went to grave. You can stand by that. So they all trigger at the same time.
Yeah, that's the thing with Standby Switch. There's a lot of little like tricks. It's definitely not a super inherent deck to pick up. You kind of got to play it a few times to get the hang of it.
Yeah, it doesn't like inherently make any sense like what your optimal plays are. You have to, when you have a lot of experience and you have a lot of good Weiss fundamentals and you know like ordering of effects and how sort of auto effects when they simultaneously trigger, how you can choose to resolve them and what's most optimal, you can get a lot of like edge case value in Standby Switch.
Yeah, it's definitely a deck that as you master it and get better with it, you're going to start seeing more and more success. You might not win a lot initially with it, but I promise the more comfortable you get with it, and as you learn all the lines, it'll start winning a lot more for you. Oh, and one more thing before we move on. These also both have abilities that say when you use act effects, so things like backups, brainstorms, whatever, you give power to your to a character on your field.
Only once per turn. But that's once on your turn or your opponent's turn. So it definitely helps your standby characters live when your backups are better than usual. Mm-hmm. And then I have one more card at level 0. It is the... I can't read that upside down. It's Nike Asana.
Comforting Moment Asana. When you play her, you can return 2 characters from your waiting room back to your deck and shuffle it to give her an extra soul for the turn. And when she's reversed, their battle opponent is a level 0. I think she's a stock suicider.
No, she's
no. I'm sorry. When she gets reversed in battle, you mill the top. You reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 1 or higher, this goes to your stock.
And you play a lot of level 1 or higher cards because you're a standby deck. So which is why you see a lot of 3-ofs and stuff in our 0 line. Is because we're running a lot of level 1s, level 2s, level 3s because we're a standby deck. So that's why you see the kind of like lower ratios of like stuff like runners or brainstorms and stuff like that. So
yeah, this card's definitely not like super important to the deck strategy, but I like having a bit of yellow fix in the deck because in case you need to play the Asana finisher from your hand, you are then able to.
Because you don't want to level backups if you don't have to, because the 1/0 Vice Commander backups are so good. Also, this card has like really good cheese when you're at the end of the deck, where like say you have 2 cards in deck and you want to play a standby, you can put 2 cards back and then like trigger clean damage and play climaxes and stuff like that. It helps you like in those weird edge cases where you need to go into your next deck clean. It's like really underrated effect that you get to put clean cards back in your deck to trigger.
Yeah, I like it because it's yellow, but those are good points too. But that's it for level 0s.
Free stock is also good.
Stonk is always nice. Level 1, we got 3 copies of Silica on guard.
Scared Girl with Knife, my favorite.
Mm-hmm. She's your primary standby target at level 1. She is if you have 2 or more other characters, she gets 1500 power and Hand Encore. So it's really great when you can get this turn 1 with a standby. Otherwise, like if you can't get this early on, you might want to delay your standby and go for a level 2 target once you hit level 1, but this is the best card you can stand by at level 1, so that's why you run it. 3 After Party Keiko. She is a level 1 suicider, and when you play her, you can discard a climax to salvage a character. So this deck's climax lineup, if you aren't familiar with the archetype, is 4 standbys and 4 blue gates. So if you end up hitting a lot of blue gates and getting a lot of climaxes into your hand, you can kind of filter those out for other pieces.
Or with your brainstorm, maybe you're drawing too many, stuff like that.
Yeah, just a real good filter tool to get rid of extra climaxes if you need to. And it's a suicider, so can't go wrong with that. 2 SAO Survivor, Asuna, and Kazuto. I don't think you run this one in your...
No, I do not, yeah. But it's a very good card.
It's definitely a good option. I really like it a lot. What it does is when you play it, you get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add one of those 2 to your hand, and then discard a card.
And it can add any card.
It can add anything.
And you don't have to reveal them.
It can add a climax. So it's another card that helps you draw into a standby and allows you to put more characters into your waiting room. So I like to really be able to facilitate like a standby every turn and like make sure I have good targets. So this really helps me with that. And then during your opponent's turn, all of your front row characters get 1,000 extra power. So also good for helping your stuff live cross turn. One of my favorite ways to use this card is to actually play this into the front row with like other beefy cards I've stood by out, because I like to leave a back row spot open just in case I trigger a standby. So a lot of times I'll push this forward actually, and then just say it basically says, okay, you can reverse this 1 lane if you want, but then my other 2 lanes are super huge because I have this 1,000 power on them.
Just like make sure you win your other lanes, like if you have it in center stage.
Yeah.
So.
Or if you have the room for it in the back row, you can just give your whole front row 1,000 extra power. I don't know. I really like this card a lot. It's definitely a worthy blue card to consider running. And then I have a couple backups at level 1. It is the Prepared for Battle Asuna. So you can either run this backup or the
Vice Commander,
Vice Commander. That's a split 1,000. It's a split 2K backup.
where you can give 1,000 to 2 different characters if you want, or 2,000 to 1 character.
Yeah, this is a 1/1/2K backup that says when you use it, you can, if you have an avatar net character, you can put the top card of your deck into your stock. So it's basically a free backup. The reason I run this over the split 2K counter is because I like the soul icon in the corner. Because you're running standby climax doesn't give like soul to your field when you play it. I like to be able to trigger
maximize your soul triggers.
So
yeah.
I think it's important to be able to have as many soul triggers as you can in standby decks, at least from my experience playing it. So that's why I'm running this instead of the other one.
And it's the same color too, so
yeah,
not
it's
a
like
big deal.
You can split them however you want, or use whichever you want, but that's the one I like. Going on to level 2, we got... Get out of here, Silica. It's all about Lizbeth. Rhapsodic Lizbeth. She gets 1,000 power for each of your other avatar or net characters, and at the beginning of your encore step, if you do not have any other rested characters, you can pay 1 and rest her. So this is your level 2 standby target that you're primarily getting. Just a beefy 2 soul beater that it's probably going to sit on your field for the rest of the game. And then has the really useful ability to be able to save itself. Something that's like not inherently apparent with what, like, I guess this is a technical Weiss-Schwarz rule or whatever, is that the encore phase is like one card. Each card triggers at a different time. You don't encore all at once. It's like you encore one at a time. So like, let's say they reverse. It's like if you don't have any other like reverse characters. So like, what would be like?
If your whole field was reversed here, you could waiting room, pay 1 save, encore, like that.
Yeah, there's like different lines you can
where
pick.
Characters are put into waiting room 1 at a time, then encored 1 at a time. And this isn't an encore ability. This is like just an activated ability. It's an auto ability. So
you want to make sure to do the Lizbeth first, because if you like encore a Silica back, then you have a standing character and can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, they don't even all have to be reversed. Like, what is it? If I'm confusing myself now. So
it's pretty confusing.
if everything is reversed here, you can pay 1. This is how you do it. I did it wrong the last time.
Okay.
If everything is reversed here, there's nothing reversed.
You do her first.
You can pay 1 and save Liz first because you don't have any other rested characters. Your Silicas then go to waiting room and get saved by their encore effects 1 at a time. That's the correct way to do it. The first way I showed was wrong.
That's cheating. But, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do it the first way. That's cheating. They give the exact same result, but this one is legal. Yeah. But yeah, that's something people don't realize about the encore step, is that it's 1 at a time.
It's 1 at a time. So while that effect might not seem powerful at a first glance, or might seem a little bit too conditional, you can kind of, like, if you have some stuff that's like, you know, you want to save multiple things, you can do this one first. Mm-hmm. It's a little more useful.
The main synergy is when you have like the 2 1/1 Silicas and that out on like a second level 1 turn after playing standby. That's kind of like the most likely time for that to come up.
Yeah. So this is your primary standby target, level 2. I have 1 Machine of Ice Xenon that is like an alternative standby level 2 target. Like if I'm playing a standby from hand, I'm probably gonna go for a Rhapsodic Liz, but if you end up like triggering into standby and want something for the back row, this can be a real good target to go into. She gives all your characters in front of her 1,000 extra power, and then she has an act ability where you can rest her to give 1,000 extra power. I think it gives power, right? She's a new addition to the deck. No, okay. So she gives 1,000 power to the characters in front of her, and then you can rest her to give one of your opponent's characters the ability that they cannot play events or backups during the battle of that character. Which is really helps you with the finisher combo to be able to ensure that you can get your switch combo off effectively. Also nice because you can kind of stop your opponent's anti-change counters if you sequence things properly. So it seems like a nice utility card. I had 4 Lizbeths at first and found I didn't need all 4, so I ended up switching 1 to this and have liked it a lot. And then finally, I have one Leaf Encounter, the typical Leaf Encounter. She's a 2500 backup, and when you play her, you get to look at the top card of your deck. If it's a avatar or net character, you get to draw it and discard. So.
And every time this causes you to cancel, you get to look your opponent straight in the face and say statistics. Because you are statistically more likely to cancel. But yeah, it's a really good filtering tool.
Jeez, what do you mean? I messed up.
Did you mess up?
Yeah, I actually have 4 of this in the deck.
I was gonna say I was pretty sure you had 4.
I was pretty sure I did too.
Okay, so we have 4. Okay, we have 4 scared girl with knife.
Oh, it's just a disaster, Carmen.
It's not a disaster. We're good. But we do have 4 of it.
4 of it, yeah.
But yeah, Leaf Encounter
is good. Yeah.
If you don't like it, you can run the Spice Dicey Cafe Eggle, the bottom decker. But it's really so intensive,
and I kind of just like the ability to like help myself save damage.
And your stuff's so big anyway, you can probably back up over your opponent's early plays to kill them. So with like standard backups, so this kind of has like dual purpose in that way.
Yeah, I guess it just really is a meta call. If you have a lot of Level 5 Sunshine in your meta, maybe
because Eggle's like bottom deck, so he's like hard field removal.
I'm really into scrying on my opponent's turn, so big fan of Leaf Encounter. And oh boy, here we go, level 3s.
So let's do the switch combo last. Let's do the other ones first.
Last, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll lay them out and we'll explain it at the end. So 3 copies of Attack and Waves Kirito, 3 copies of Attack and Waves Asuna. This is the main finisher combo of the deck. It kind of works off of both of them. We'll get into that in a second, though.
Because it's pretty complicated.
Yeah, that's going to take a while. But then other level 3s, I have 2 copies of Adventuring with Everyone Lisbeth. She gets power cross turn equal to 500 times the number of your other characters.
So base 11.
So base 11,000, and when you play her from your hand, you can discard a card and heal top card of your clock to your stock.
And she's an early play with 2 or less climaxes.
That too.
So, yeah, just like really strong. I think like this is like the strongest early play that SAO has access to. This card is like obscenely good, super efficient, really big, really beefy, fits the standby strategy and like other SAO deck strategies really well. It's like a really strong card.
Yeah, definitely the more I play with this card, the more I start to really appreciate the versatility of it. I think it's also probably the best like standby target if you already have your combo set up.
Because it gets power cross turn.
Because it gets power cross turn. It can be a real good one to just like help hold board. And then 1 Link Strike Xenon.
Another card that I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, she's a ridiculously good early play condition. So if you have a full field, you can... Or if you have 4 characters, you can early play her. And she heals when you play her.
No, she doesn't heal. She draws a card. She draws
you a card when you play her.
She draws a card and gets power. She 2k draws on play, I believe. Yeah, 2k draw on play, like Mikasa.
And then you can pay 1... Like when your middle character attacks, you can pay 1, mill 3 cards... And if there's a climax among those 3 cards, she restands.
Yeah, it's pay 1, ditch 2, so it's pretty hefty. But you pay 1, ditch 2, and you can just restand, like, no climax. Like, if you're pretty compressed, you should probably hit that. So it's just, like, really destructive. You can do, like, crazy stuff where, like, you stand by this card. If you hit a standby on your side lane and you haven't attacked yet. So, like, say you do this, right? You swing here, you trigger standby. You can standby this out, swing with your center lane, do the effect, and stand her. Or, like, say you have a triggered climax, like, you can do super crazy stuff, and you, like, really need to refresh clean. You could swing here, trigger standby, put this out here, because, like, say you have something over here you want to swing. You can still activate the effect, even though she's in back row, and pay and stand her. So, like, you have lots of crazy ways to use this effect. Just like a really, really strong, like basically conditionless early play.
I think the ability to like actually get another attack mid-combat
is like so good.
Like attack sequencing is pretty important because you want to swing your middle row last probably. Mm-hmm. But like if you hit a standby, you can throw this over top something else.
And it pays out trigger climaxes too. Like
it's a really good card. I know some people will run 2 copies. I think you have 2 in your deck.
I run 2, yeah.
I like having another spot for maybe a different level 3. That more toolboxy. I wanted to make room for one. I figure Yui is my last level 3. She has the Fumio effect, so when I play her,
Not Fumio, stock swap. Buns.
Stock swap?
Yeah, she's buns. She's buns on a stick. So
that's what I meant. I got the
confused
though.
We've been talking Konosuba all day. So
yeah, so put 2 cards from your hand to the waiting room. When you play her, you can send all your opponent's stock to their waiting room, and they put that many cards on the top of their stock back in. So if your opponent's really well compressed, you can kind of, or if they have a lot of clean stock, you can really mess them up.
She also has Damage Scry, which is like really dumb. She's like super huge when she comes in. That card does so much and like answers so many like very specific situations. Like super good against AOT, helps you bust down walls, like has the stock swap effect, which I think it's costless. It's like ditch 2 cards, right? It doesn't cost any additional stock to do. It's just ditch 2 cards. So like super efficient. Damage Scry just helps you live. Like it's just a lot of effects on one card, and I run one of those too.
I really would like to try to fit in a second one of these in my deck. We have a lot of Attack on Titan in our local scene, so the Damage Scry is pretty important. And I think it's like this is like a good defensive standby target. Like the Lisbeth, hits 11k, but this, if you can stand by this out early, level 2.
Yeah, like this is the aggressive damage one. This is the best field, and then this can like save you against like pings and stuff like that.
Or just as good over, like if you get this early on in level 2, you can just have a Damage Scry for the rest of the game, and I mean that sort of incremental advantage really adds up.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into the meat and potatoes here, Carmen. Let's get into the Attack and Waves combo. So, if you're familiar with Sword Art, you've probably seen this card. This is playing most Sword Art decks.
At least as a one-of,
yeah. She's a frontal 2,000 assist to your level 3 characters, and she gives
to all Avatar Net characters.
Oh yeah,
everything. Yeah.
Everything in front of her gets 2,000 power.
And memory kick.
And when you reverse your opponent, you get to send them to memory.
If you want.
If you want, it's optional. Really good against other decks that are early playing characters and investing a lot of resources, like other standby decks, something like a Love Live Sunshine or Gun Gale that's playing multiple early plays. It's like, it really makes your opponent think twice about attacking into you, especially when you have big characters and big backups. It's a real pain in the ass to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she also has the combo at the end.
Also, if you have to hard play her, she searches your deck for a character on play. It's like really good come and play effect. If you have to hard play her from hand. Obviously, you haven't seen a lot of yellow in the deck, so hard playing her from hand is a rarity, but it is a thing that you sometimes have to do in the deck. So that's just kind of a bonus.
Yeah, and then the Kirito, there's so much text on these cards.
Yeah, I think Asuna, these 2 cards have like the most text of like
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Attack and Waves Kirito, he heals you when you play him, and you can play him for free actually from your hand by sacrificing your Kirito Brainstormer. Trying to pull him out here. You can just play this over this for free.
Well, you don't even have to play it over it. You just have to, when you put this down on the stage, you just, instead of paying stock, sacrifice your Brainstormer.
Yeah, so he's like a free play if you want to sacrifice your Brainstormer. But these 2 cards make up the finishing combo of the deck with the Blue Gate Climax.
He's also a clean cut, which is like pretty good considering like the way you'll have to sequence this. So.
Do we want to try to describe the combo?
Yeah, so pull out the Climax.
Yeah.
And let's get some other characters out. So the crux of this combo is you need to start with one of each in the back and then another one in front. And it can be either one, right?
You need 2 of one and 1 of the other.
Yeah, so like it can be either one here. It doesn't really matter. But so what happens is, let's grab some garbage. So when your other character attacks, Asuna's ability activates. And it's really important that no matter how many of this you're going to do, so even if you have like a full field, like you're going to like do 5 attacks. Even if you're going to do 5 attacks, you only need 1 stock before you go to attacks, because the whole, that's your threshold before you go to attacks, no matter how many you're doing, because the whole thing pays for itself. I believe. Well, if I'm wrong about that, we'll find out in a second. So basically, if you're going to start with Asana or whatever in the front, you have to swing with her first. So you swing with Asana and you generate a stock. You then swing in your other lane, pay 2, and pitch a card and swap Kirito with Asana. You then attack with Kirito. Well, you get the stock from this attack. You attack with Kirito. That attack's done. You now attack with this lane. When you declare that attack, this Asana's ability activates. You pay 2, pitch a card, then switch this Kirito with this Asana. And then that Asana goes out. This attack finishes. Then this Asana finally swings, and you get that stock too. So obviously, depending on, there are better ways to set it up than that, because that left an Asana dead probably in the front row. Because like we talked about, Kirito has clean cut, right? So at the end, what you want to do is attack with Kirito last, so that your dead Asana that you switch to the back row gets clean cut and saved. And you end with, like, you can choose, the strength of the combo is you can end with either because I'm an idiot, you can end with either like a completely reversed front field and like rested Kiritos in the back. So like you don't have a field for your opponent to do anything to, like if you're playing against Konosuba and you combo first, or you can choose to end with big walls and Asanas behind you. So like there's a lot of like flexibility in how you want your board state to be at the end of the combo. You just have to sequence it right. And if you're super crazy high roll, one of your shitter lanes is one of these, and you can pay and stand this too and maybe get 6 attacks. So
there's crazy potential here, definitely. Like I said earlier, it's one of those really difficult decks to master. Easy to pick up and play maybe, but probably one of the hardest decks to really master. And the more reps you put in with it, the better you're going to get at it. I feel like I learned something just listening to you. I know it's supposed to be my deck profile, but you're doing all the explaining.
Yeah, I mean, the first time, like, because I was throwing together Standby Switch, because I wanted to build, like, around when I was getting more serious into the game, because I wanted to build something that had a different play style than the other stuff I was playing, which at the time was, like, mostly Bang Dream and, like, big bombastic finisher kind of decks, which I guess this is, but it has a different mid-game strategy. And I was thinking, well, like, how does this work? And, like, as we talked about it, like, on Discord, like, in our scenes Discord, we, like, came up with different ways to, like, use it. So, yeah, it's definitely pretty complicated.
And then, let's get all this out of here. And then here's the climaxes. Blue Gate, standby.
We lost one. But
losing a lot of cards this video.
But yeah, this helps you get your, when you trigger this, you can get your standbys back.
Yeah, and standby decks, I really like having the Blue Gate.
It's also just good to have a 1k1 to like punish people when you see that you're out. Like you're not like running a standby
where you know you can actually push for damage when you need to, which is definitely a bonus to running this deck over one of the 8 standby decks you could be running. Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to add, or? No,
I think that was it. Like, I think the big strength of the deck, again, is
the versatility of the finisher.
The versatility of the finisher, that you can choose to leave, as long as they have stuff on their field, you can choose to, like, leave an empty board at the end, or choose to leave, like, Kirito walls. And the clean cut at level 3 is, like, really strong and underrated. People don't think about that. Like, you can crash the Asana first, swap it, then cut it. Because you can cut something that's already in the back row. You can clean cut something that's already in the back row and just rest it and not do any part of the other effect. Or even rest it, and if this other slot is open and you need power in the other lane, cut it. You attack with your other character, swap it, Asana comes to the back row, Kirito gets his reverse, rests this Asana, then moves her over to that slot, and you attack with your last lane. So, like, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. There's, like, all sorts of crazy things you can do with the deck. Like, if we sat here and talked about every single line you could do a standby switch, I think we'd be here for like an hour. So,
yeah, I think it's definitely the best standby deck English has currently at the moment. Once Bunny Girl comes out, I think that's like...
That will probably end, yeah. Well, we don't know how it's going to shape up, but we have a lot of strong standby strategies coming. Goblin Slayer has a strong standby game. We're getting Fujimi Bunko, which is like the like poster child for 8 standby in JP right now, and it's coming to English. So we have a lot of crazy stuff. Like Bang Dream just got access to like a better like 8 standby variant. So like we have a lot of like crazy standby stuff coming. But I think this is like the English standby deck that people are afraid of getting high rolled by at tournaments. Because good players with this deck, like they know all those lines and like they're very aware of them. So they can be pretty scary when you get high rolled by this deck.
Definitely. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in and watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. As far as future deck techs and content are concerned, we will be doing another Sword Art deck tech for the other big build, Zek and Shot, which is Sword Art build based around, who are the characters? It's
Yuki and Xenon.
Yuki and Xenon. The Yuki Xenon build of Sword Art. Tyler's going to do that for us. And we're trying to do deck techs for all the big series in the game. If there's a deck tech you would like to see, leave down below in the comments, and we'll try to get that down for you. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.